Today we're going to talk about staging for a small house to sell. We're going to go through some key things that you'll need to pay attention to, and by the end of this video you're going to understand and know what it's going to take to stage a small house to sell. Hi, I'm John Trautman. I've been investing in real estate for over 23 years now. I've done everything from residential, fix and flips, to commercial, and you name it as far as commercial goes, from industrial, hotels, motels, warehouse, office, you name it, retail. Done a lot of different things. That means I've made a lot of mistakes too. And so I'm here to share with you some of the things that I've found out by trial and error, and some of those things that I've found out through other great mentors. So I'm going to share a couple things with you for staging a small house to sell. So I've made a few mistakes in this area that I don't want you to experience. So go ahead, check out this video. We're going to get into it right now. So first off, in a small house or any house, what I like to do is keep the palette clean. What do I mean? Like the walls. The walls need to be light and bright, like keep them white. A lot of people like to say, well, I should introduce like an accent wall. No, you don't need to, especially in a smaller house. Like, you want to keep things as neutral as possible and not draw attention to necessarily one specific thing. What you do want to do, though, is have the right size furniture. I can't tell you, I've personally made this mistake where I brought in too big of a sofa, for example, and what it did is it really identified and made the room seem so small. And maybe the room was small, but I didn't need to accentuate it by bringing in a large sofa. That I did. So I only made that mistake once. And sometimes you look at the space and say, oh my gosh, I'm not sure what it should be, but bringing in a professional interior decorator, they could help identify these things as well. If you have the budget and could bring in a professional interior decorator, or just for them to come and walk the space and tell you what should be there, that's another thing that I've done. I do it all the time. I'll bring in a professional stager. So then that way they're telling me, like, this is what you should do with this space, or this is what this space should be. Especially in small spaces, having them defined. A defined space is important. Like, if it's a smaller area where your maybe living room blends into, maybe if you even have a dining room, or maybe it goes straight into the kitchen. So making sure that those spaces are defined. It's hard for people to be able to look at a space and identify what needs to be there. That goes back to even just general rehabbing. Sometimes people don't have the vision and can't see what the space should be or what the highest and best use is. Same thing goes for staging a house. So I like to bring in people and collaborate on these things to make sure, one, that we're getting the highest and best use of a space, and two, when we're staging it, that now people could identify it and say, oh, okay, that's what that space should be. So you also want to keep it very simple. You want to remove clutter, and that goes for all the little knick-knack stuff. I know, like, oftentimes people want to put all sorts of stuff on the countertops. I like to just keep things very simple, and that's on the look that I like to deliver too. If there's going to be some personalizing of the property, I want the owners to be able to personalize it, because when they walk in and it's kind of clean but it has defined space, they'll start to envision what they want in that spot, which let them do that, because once they start envisioning what is going to go there, they start taking ownership. Once they start taking ownership, they're writing that down, and they want that. It's an emotional connection to the property. So the cleaner the palette, the less you define the space, the less you personalize it to your liking, and think about, who am I selling to? Who is my target audience? It's the end buyer. And so having a clean palette where they could figure out the accent wall or any of the knick-knack stuff, the better. Also, for staging, I like to keep that color palette somewhat neutral as well. I don't want to bring in wild colors into a nice, light, bright space, because now they're focused in on whatever couch, sofa, whatever those things are. So trying to keep neutral colors, it's another thing that you should look at doing. Lighting is a huge emotional piece. I like to have like Edison bulbs, something of warmer color as accent pieces. I call them jewelry. These little pieces of jewelry that you could have, especially in a small space, the better. Like, it's a wow factor. It makes things pop. They may forget about how small the space is if it has a good feel and they're connecting to it. So these are things that you want to think about. You don't want to overdo it with all of that jewelry. You just want just enough to where the eye flows and it starts to feel, good. It has a good flow to it, if you will. If you're liking this video, do me a favor, click on the thumbs up button below. Let me know that you like it, and I'll keep bringing good content like this to you. Another thing about having a small space, you want to make sure that whatever furniture you are bringing in, it is relevant to whatever era. So oftentimes, maybe a smaller space is some of these historical houses. If I could bring in furniture to complement it, but not overwhelm it. Again, it's to complement. It's not to, people aren't necessarily buying the furniture. So depending on the market, what I'll do is I'll partner with a furniture company. There's a local one that I work with. And what I'll have them do is they'll come in and bring all the furniture that either I go pick out or I go pick out with a interior designer. We pick it out together, and in doing so, we will sell the furniture often with the house when we go to sell it. We try to pick neutral tone. Well, it's not overwhelming the space. It's actually complementing. Complementing the space is a huge piece of what you want furniture to do. You don't want it to be the focus, although you want it to feel warm, bright, and whatever energy that you're trying to create for the space, you kind of want that to complement it. So make sure it fits the house aesthetically, make sure it fits the house size-wise, and that it's overall complementing the space, not contrasting the space. So these are a couple things that I look to when I'm doing a smaller space, and sometimes less is more. So don't bring in all the furniture if you don't need to. Just enough to move the house. One of the things that's happened recently with this whole COVID outbreak is you're able to actually have people digitally put in the furniture. So in the listing, you don't have to spend as much money, but in the listing, it shows the furniture. Now, when they get there, maybe the furniture is not there, but they could still connect to the property. It's aesthetically appealing, gets the people there. The number one thing is you want people to come to the property. Maybe they're there with now a, palette that's clear and clean, but at least you got them there, right? So the biggest thing when selling a house is, how do I draw more people in? Well, how do I cast the net to as many people as possible? Well, this is one of those ways. Cast the net. You could use it on a budget, and especially for smaller space, and aesthetically get those people engaged, get them to your property, and then when they get there, they've already seen it with the furniture in it. So now they could start envisioning their own furniture in it. This is one of those hacks that you could do on a budget. Anyways, hope that you've enjoyed this content. Click on the link below, subscribe today, let me know your thoughts. If you're looking for various ways to get into real estate or execute better on real estate, whether it's residential or commercial, there's a link in the description below. Go ahead, click on that, and check out all the different courses that you could take in getting better at becoming the best real estate investor you can be.